I'm tying this Polypropylene-wing Mayfly from Fling and Pueterbaugh's book, The Basic Manual of Fly Tying, on a number 14 hook. This is a bent shank 2x long. For the tail, I'm using this brown hen hackle, pulling off, not counting, but about 8 to 10 fibers, which I will tie in about shank length. Holding the fibers on the front of the shank will keep them up on top of the shank when I wrap back on them. I have kept the tag of my tie-in thread, which I'm going to use for the rib, and I'm going to just clip out these butt ends just so that we're a little cleaner here. The body is dubbing, and I'm using some gray tan dubbing, dark tan dubbing. General principles in fly tying: match your hatch. So observe what is hatching where you're fishing and tie your flies to match. So the body, maybe taper it a little bit. I'm not worrying too much about tapering it. That body is really going to be pretty much hidden by the dry fly hackle. And I'm taking the body just up to, what is that, about the 2/3 or the 1/3 point from the front of the hook. I need plenty of room out in front for the wing and the hackle, and then I'm going to counter wrap my thread and create the ribbing. This is just another example of different ways to tie a mayfly. This one again using polypropylene or polyolefin, if you can find that, is even more buoyant than polypropylene is. It's macrame yarn. So for the wing I am using this macrame yarn, polypropylene. I think this is polypropylene. I'm going to just separate out one of the multiple strands, and I want a piece, a manageable piece that's going to be twice the hook shank, or more than twice the hook shank, because when I cut it, each wing will be about body length or hook shank length. So I'm just wrap that in at that 1/3 or so spot on the shank, and then I'm going to twist it sideways. So I'm going to turn the hook here so you can see what I'm doing. Pull those so that they're, what is that, perpendicular, and then I'll come around and wrap and do the X wrap. And somehow I got going the other direction with my wrap here. That's all right. Then I can stand those up, pull up on them, keep them straight, and then wrap right close underneath of them, front and behind, and that will help to stand them up on the shank. I'm not too worried about them splitting. just the two wings, and then I'm looking at the body length, and I'm going to make that triangle there kind of equilateral and cut those to the length of the body. Then I have a honey dry fly hackle, and again, whatever colors. A traditional Adams mayfly would use grizzly hackle and brown hackle together. I'm just going to use this one honey hackle here. I have clipped the front end, or the butt end, for the little barbs that help hold it in. I'll do a few wraps behind and then come up and do a few wraps in front to hold that stem in. And I am tying it with the shiny side towards the shank so that when I wrap it, the fibers are supposed to go forward, as is a traditional dry fly form. So try to keep my wraps right close behind the wings, and 3-4 wraps, however much I have. You know, the fuller the hackle is, the better it floats. So I think I've got 4, and I've got plenty of room in front. I can do 3 or 4 wraps, so just go until I'm kind of out of feather. Make sure I'm leaving a little room in front for a head. And then I'll tie that hackle feather off. Now before I clip that out, I want to grab and pull back on all of that. See if I can get all those fibers pulled back off of the eye. And there's one errant one there. It's going to be stubborn. I'll have to clip it out. And then just kind of wrap it back up onto the end of that feather for the head. Then I can grab that tip. If I pull down on my thread and put some tension on it, I can just snap that tip out. And then I do have that one fiber that's going to be a pain. Okay, got it clipped out. Stand my wings up. And then put my whip finish on it, and try to do that carefully so that I am not grabbing any of those fibers. Any fibers that I grab, I am going to have to. And I got a piece of polypropylene in there. Okay, I got that out. I'll put a couple of whip finishes on this and some head cement and call it good. A polypropylene winged mayfly. This one from Fling Pueterbaugh's book, The Basic Manual of Fly Tying. The head cement that I use is goop that's been diluted. Pick up a couple drops with a needle and drop it on the head.